Reddit's got some leaked photos out of Slovakia. Glock logos on an AR pattern rifle. Slovak police actually holding and running the thing. Proper optics already mounted. This went from vaporware rumor to tangible metal quicker than anyone expected. The pictures track with earlier contract imagery that surfaced during a British military tender a while back. Same upper profile, that distinctive quick detach style handguard with a hefty side clamp and glass that isn't a bargain bin kit. Glock didn't trot out a beater for police demo day. What we're seeing in the field matches the sort of engineering breadcrumbs Glock has been leaving in patent filings for years. And that is where the story gets a lot more interesting than brand slap's name on generic AR. Back up a step. Glock's whole identity has always been pistol tunnel vision. Polymer striker guns done at scale, done boringly reliable, and done in enough frame sizes and calibers that entire agencies could issue Glock nothing else and feel perfectly fine. That narrow focus helped them dominate sidearm sales, but it also fenced them into the pistol corner of every contract. Agencies that wanted one vendor for pistols and rifles had to bring another company to the table. Meanwhile, SIG built an empire being the one-stop catalog. Pistols, carbines, belt, fed variants, suppressors, optics, even ammo. When procurement people can tick half their requirement spreadsheet with a single vendor, that vendor wins mindshare, then market share, then budget share. Glock saw that reality creeping up. You can almost plot it. Glock 44 22 LR MOS. Expansion across the catalog, rimfire trainer options, threaded barrels, then quiet moves in Europe that suddenly looked like staging areas for long gun production. It was never going to stop at pistols forever. So what exactly is this rifle? You'll hear people calling it the GR115 because that label floated with early documents tied to a European tender. The gun looks AR adjacent at a glance. Straight line stock Air Mag location, top rail profile that will take familiar accessories. Look closer and you start seeing the weirdness that lines up with the patent trail. The handguard extension latches into a collar that appears designed for rapid barrel removal, or at least quick maintenance access. Sections of the top rail show relief cuts and cable lanes the way some high-end duty carbines are doing now so unit armors can route pressure pad leads without electrical tape sculptures. The Slovak photos show an Aimpoint Comp M5 red dot optic mounted on the rifle. While there is no piggybacked optic or magnifier in sight, I think Glock is marketing this rifle to agencies as a complete duty, ready fighting rifle, not just a stripped down base gun. Let's dig into the guts where Glock's paperwork tells us what they've been cooking. Several filings describe adjustable gas systems intended to let the end user swing settings between suppressed and unsuppressed without tools. That's huge for police and military who are increasingly running cans of standard kit. If you've ever watched armors repin tiny metering screws on legacy blocks, you know why an external index knob is such a quality of life upgrade. Another patent family shows a clamping or tensioning interface between barrel extension and upper that doesn't rely purely on the standard AR barrel nut torque convention. That lines up with what we're seeing in photos. An external side clamp that could let units spin barrels, swap calibers, or just service the gun without full tear down. There's also language about a piston-driven operating group rather than direct impingement. Glock would not be the first to ride the short stroke piston train, yet the combination, ambi lower, piston user tunable gas, quick barrel module, starts looking like a rifle designed for international tenders where armory flexibility scores points. Manufacturing location is the foggy bit and the one causing heartburn among purists. Glock proper has long built in Austria and the United States. Less people outside Europe realize Glock also operates in Slovakia, and that facility has been part of the rumor chain since these carbines surfaced. The word floating around the Slovak gun scene is that rifles are being assembled there, at least for evaluation quantities. Parts sourcing remains murky. Some of us hope this meant a secret HK Glock handshake. Others joked it was contract machined metal out of whatever offshore OEM could meet spec. One theory that keeps resurfacing is a CZ tie-in, since CZ Group has deep manufacturing bench strength across Central Europe and has bought and integrated multiple brands over the last decade. None of the big names have claimed parentage, which doesn't prove anything, though the machining and finishing in leaked photos look properly European, not cottage shop. Pricing is the other landmine. Nobody outside the procurement circles has a firm number. We can bracket it with common sense. Glock is bidding against the sort of rifles police and military already buy when they want serious service carbines. HK 4ST or 417 family LMT monolith systems, FN SCAR variants, top shelf CZ brand 2, sometimes high-spec Colt Canada or KAC gear depending on the tender. Those are not $900 rack rifles. Once you add export, optics, possible suppressors, and low volume early production, agency cost easily lands in the $2+ grand band and can climb fast. Translate that to a hypothetical US commercial import, and you're not talking price parity with a PSA duty build. That reality alone will thin the herd of fanboys who'll buy anything with a Glock logo if the gun ever shows up on shelves. For departments already writing checks in that tier, brand familiarity plus Glock's pistol contract leverage might open doors. I've heard pushback from old school Glock fans who wanted the company to stay in the lane that made it famous. I get that. A Glock pistol is this no drama, keep running, drop it in mud tool that does not ask you to baby it. They fear that chasing full spectrum contracts will pull engineering talent away from refining the pistols, and that we'll see feature bloat instead of the simple slab-sided workhorse that made agencies switch decades ago. That anxiety isn't imaginary. We watched plenty of brands dilute focus as they branched out. On the flip side, if Glock had refused to evolve at all, they risk being boxed into sidearm accessory vendor status while competitors pitch complete weapon ecosystems. Think about procurement officers who can bundle pistols, rifles, suppressors, training ammo, armor courses, spares, logistics tracking, smart weapon management software, and get volume pricing because they commit to one logo. Glock had to answer that or get squeezed. Something else worth saying, the European service rifle landscape has shifted massively toward AR pattern guns. The Swiss military adopted LMT. Estonia went LMT. The British Army's new Ranger Regiment rifle is a Knight's Colt Canada-style AR. Units that once clung to indigenous bullpups or roller-delayed nostalgia have been transitioning hard toward common manual of arms, common magazine format, and global parts flow. In that environment, Glock bringing an AR family rifle actually makes more business sense than trying to resurrect some exotic new operating system that armorers must learn from scratch. Familiar enough to train fast, different enough in the maintenance bits that agencies can justify the buy by pointing to better support for suppressors, easier barrel swaps, or ambidextrous ergonomics for modern kit. Take a look again at the Slovak police photos if you can find mirrored copies. The sample guns wear proper duty furniture. Magpul grip and stock in at least one shot, wire-friendly top rail cuts, front accessory real estate. That tells me Glock is aiming this at end users who will hang lights, IR lasers, pressure pads, maybe even clip-ons. The optic I showed earlier, the Aimpoint Comp M5, it wasn't just random dressing. That's a legit operational setup for agencies running both daylight and NOD-assisted work thanks to its durability, long battery life, and night vision compatibility. Glock is showing procurement boards that they understand modern use patterns, not just how to mold polymer frames. The patents also hint at durability priorities. One includes reinforced interface geometry where the bolt carrier group meets the gas system, an area that gets hammered in high round count piston conversions. Another references index to tent positions so gas settings don't drift under vibration. Anyone who has wrestled with piston rifles that carbon weld adjusters shut will appreciate that attention. Even if these filings are broad legal land grabs, companies don't throw money at drawings unless there's at least medium-term intent to defend something they plan to ship. Could the commercial side ever see one? Glock plays a long strategy. They tend to roll out to agencies, build volume, then trickle adaptations into the US market when production risk drops and service data says the platform is dialed in. The Glock 44 and the MOS Wave followed that rhythm. If the rifle cements a few international contracts and Glock confirms production repeatability outside small batches, I bet we see a limited import run, maybe Piston 5.56 first, possibly multi-caliber kits later if that barrel clamping system proves as modular as the pants suggest. US 922R parts content and import classification will matter. A US-made licensed variant wouldn't shock me either if demand spikes and tariff math gets ugly. I'm not ready to sell off trusted carbines and wait in line sight unseen. Yet I am paying attention. A Glock-backed duty rifle that actually runs, supports suppressor use out of the box, lets small agencies configure barrel lengths without new receivers, and ties into existing Glock procurement channels could flip a lot of spreadsheets. And you know what they say, competition is always good. So where do you land on this? How long before a Glock stamped carbine shows up on US shelves, and will you be first in line? Drop your takedown below, trade intel with the crew, and if this rundown earned its keep, smash that like, pass it to a buddy, hit subscribe, and ring the bell so you don't miss the next leak. Appreciate you watching.